Murloc, and even Paladins of this world. But instead, we're going to see Switch lining up what I think is a pretty favourable matchup at this point. Since the shake-up of the rotation into Year of the Raven, there's been a couple of things working in favour of both of these decks. Obviously, Mistress of Mixtures leaving Q-Block was a big downside, or a big hit in terms of this matchup, because it took away a lot of the healing. But quite a lot of burn gone from the Rogue as well. With Medivh's Valet and Fireland's Portal gone, you have to find some kind of inefficient ways to get damage through to face.
But the weird thing is that it helps in this matchup. The fact the Mage deck is now a little bit weaker has forced it to be more aggressive, which has helped it in this particular match. It's not necessarily better deck overall.
Yeah.
But Warlocks, the one sort of half weakness they have is they don't like being hit in the face with things early, and they don't like things going through their taunts.
Exactly. If you can go over the top of Voidlord through the likes of Mind Blast Priest, this Tempo Rogue, Odd Hunter, those decks tend to do reasonably well against Warlock, because there's a good amount of healing, but you have to actually find it. It's not always that consistent against the likes of Odd Warrior.
So they go in a luxurious position of being able to tap.
Oh, yes.
I mean, tapping is something that people don't do enough against Mage, in my opinion.
I agree with that, yeah.
They're scared to tap because it does damage, but actually, on average, you find more healing than damage you take, so it actually saves you.
I think that's fair. In this matchup, you have less of a choice. Like, as a control lock, you have Beetles, you always have Doomsayers, you have Stonehill Defenders, you've got a lot more minions you can play in the early game. Whereas for the Q block, you're generally tapping on turn 2 the vast majority of the time. But here, something like Tar Creeper, I think I would like a lot more.
It's interesting. He would love to play Mountain Giant and put the clock back the other way here, and that's what he's going to go for. He thinks, my opponent's not hit me with many minions, I can Mountain Giant and I'll have time to start hitting face and Dark Pack something, and you are looking at me like I'm speaking alien.
Yeah, so this is obviously a very vulnerable line of play, because, like you said, okay, the thinking behind this, I suppose, is you want to start killing your opponent nice and quickly. That's like the idea behind it. I don't think that ever happens, if I'm perfectly honest. I think in this position where you've already tapped yourself down to 24, your opponent will win the race the vast majority of the time. And 8 damage a turn is good, but they can just Frostbolt it for a turn or something like that. However, this is arguably a better position for him than Tar Creeper would have been on the previous turn. And given that Mountain Giant is definitely not an anti-tempo mage card, like it's bad in this matchup, pretty objectively, he's turning this disadvantage into a decent favourable scenario.
I think it's because of the way that it all panned out, as we see how this works out, though, with all these naught drops in hand. In that, just the way the game kind of panned out, he managed to get rid of all the minions on the board, so there was nothing facing him on the turn he could go into Mountain Giant. He has the backup plan of the Dark Pack, so he's okay there. And yeah, Switch rightly not using the Mountain Giant as an 8-point heal for his opponent, just saying, okay, hit me with that and I'll hit you with this lot.
As seogui, obviously from our perspective, we can see he's in a pretty good position here. Defile is a very nice, clean board clear. He obviously, however, does not know that. A random secret was played off of the shifting scroll, so obviously the chances of it being exactly counterspell is very low indeed. But at the same time, if it was, if you're going for Possessed Lackey and it is explosive runes, you do not have the board clear then, because your one attack, your one health minion. Oh, sorry, the Librarian, sorry, I apologize. If you go for the Kobold Librarian and it's exploded with runes, that's pretty bad for you, because you're taking a lot of damage and you don't have the Defile clear anymore.
And then if you go for the Lackey, then it's great some of the time, but then if it's not explosive runes, you played a 2-2 for 5 mana that isn't going to get anything done later in the game.
And because of the dual threat for seogui of it being his plan being ruined by either explosive runes or counterspell, 2 of the best mage secrets, he ends up just going for the Tar Creeper here, a much less powerful line of play than the one that was open for him, because again of the power of secrets.
Power of secrets. Still plenty of healing, well, 8 healing precisely available. Also plenty of stuff to go with that available too.
I mean, yeah, board control in the next, I would say, 2 turns is going to be gone from Switch like forever. Like, if he goes Lackey Lackey Defile, that's just going to be probably a Void Lord coming into play, securing board forever. But the thing is, like we mentioned at the start of the game, Switch very quickly is actually just going to not care anymore. With this much damage represented in hand, as well as a little bit on board that can be pushed through as well, he's looking to be absolutely fine here.
It's not going to last long, but he has a turn 7 Pyroblast currently available to him, or maybe even a turn 6 one. Right. But yeah, those things don't happen because the apprentices get killed, of course. But keeping the coin does give you the turn 9 Pyroblast.
So this is an interesting spot from Switch where he is effectively losing out on 1 damage here because he overkilled the Tar Creeper by 1, but this secures his board control a little bit better. His opponent is still afraid of a counterspell, starting to narrow down the secrets. He obviously knows it's not explosive runes, he knows it's not mirror entity off of this secret because he played the Tar Creeper last turn. So he's still afraid of this Defile not activating, but Seogi's kind of in the position where he has to start taking those risks.
Yeah, he first has to decide if he wants to do 8 to the face with the Mountain Giant before the Defile or not as well, which is really awkward for him because he needs that 8 to face.
Could be vaporized,
yeah.
But then by the same merit, maybe he doesn't go for Defile here because Possessed Lackey into Dark Pact, we can see is always either a board clear or a Void Lord put in the way because we either get Doomguard or Void Lord, which would clear off the damage if you want to trade in the Mountain Giant to one of the minions.
More secrets eliminated.
Yep, Ice Barrier, Vaporize gone. There's very little it could actually be at this point. It's basically what? Mana Bind, Spellbender, Counterspell? With Ice Block gone, there's very little it could be.
See how he chooses to do it. He's got to do something.
Yeah.
So
very happy indeed to see the Mana Bind instead as his opponent gets a pretty much useless card in this scenario. Just needs to put himself in a position where he's not dying on the following turn.
Which is, yeah, I mean, he's not, but wow, that was close.
Yep.
And there's a lot of stuff coming here from Switch, all of which present different sorts of problems that are going to be
Right. 1
turn of sort of hiatus, and then all heck is going to break loose.
Oh, this is tough because obviously I am first drawn to Double Secret as a nice utilization of mana, and setting up something that's useful but not vulnerable to Doomsayer at the moment feels very powerful, especially because even if your opponent plays Lackey into an Explosive Runes, which is usually very good for the Warlock, is fine for you here. That's an extra 4 damage to the face, which you're very happy to take indeed, and their Dark Pact becomes a lot more awkward here. But at the same time, he really wants this ping to face. That's very, very valuable here.
This is going to work out so nicely for him, though.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's easy for us sat here to see how obvious this is to the game, but it's just going to be absolutely incredible. It just stops everything that he's trying to do. And he still has that coin Pyroblast lurking as well to slow things down. Hi, Gul'dan, you're late. As in, you will be late.
So, for Seogui on this turn, if it is Explosive Runes, would he play the Lackey here? You go down to 5, which is... It's not the worst break point because you're not vulnerable to Frostbolt. You're obviously still dying to Fireball. But the thing is, if it's Explosive Runes, you can play the Dark Pact, but then you're maybe destroying a Doomguard if that's the minion that comes down.
Get you anywhere, and this Void Lord's convenient for him.
Yeah, this is the far superior of the 2 demons he could have pulled out, and it's working out decently for him, putting him up to a reasonable health total. Like you said, he just has to survive till Gul'dan.
It's so close now, though.
So, okay, if Switch here is able to, play the Apprentice
and not have it killed,
keep the coin, not have it killed, that's Pyroblast lethal on the following
Yeah, he's
set.
got to find a way to make this mana. So his plan here is to make this Mana Worm somehow look big and scary through those 3 minions that he can't get through, and have the Apprentice sort of slide into the side of the screen and pretend it's not there.
Like real life stealth as opposed to the
Yeah.
stealth mechanic. But obviously, if Seogui is worth his salt, which I believe, considering what we've seen from his play, he is, he will be killing Sorcerer's Apprentice with the highest level of priority because he'll know the coin is still there, and he'll definitely be suspectful of a Pyroblast play because there's been one card that's been sticking around for an awful long time, and this play absolutely stinks of a Pyroblast.
I love this, though, because even though it stinks of a Pyroblast, it makes your opponent have trouble, like...
Yeah.
It's got to be defended against.
And by the same merit.
He's got Defile. It might come in handy.
That's true.
I don't see how, but it
No,
might
yeah, I disagree with that one. I don't think the Defile's...
Now I look at it again, maybe it won't.
But the thing is here, even if Pyroblast cannot come down next turn, which I don't expect it to, there still needs to be another heal for Seogui. Like, it's not good enough to just survive till turn 10 because the coin Pyroblast will come in to close out the game the turn before.
Life Drinker gives him even more
Fine,
outs.
whatever, perfectly good here. He just needs to pray that his opponent does not find heal, and it can't... Like, what can it be? Because he has to get rid of the counterspell first. I don't think there's any out here for Seogui.
That doesn't look like
That's
an out
not
to
it.
me. And do you really want to tap on 6?
No, you definitely don't, Neil. Especially when you're I mean, I think you have 100% knowledge at this point that you will be met with a counterspell. Even if you find Dark Pact, it's not going off because you have no other spells in hand. He goes all in on this Void Lord to help him survive, and we can see Switch is going to be equalizing with his Tempo Mage.
Nicely played, held onto the coin pyro. I think seogui knew it was coming but couldn't do much about it. And that fireball onto the taunt minion allowed so many extra things to happen in his favour. It forced down the Doomsayer, which gave him that time to just set up the secret wall, basically.
Right.
And just showing that